G'day everyone, thanks for tuning in on Facebook and YouTube to the big one, the grand final Canterbury AFL here at QE2. It is the Eastern Blues taking on the University Cougars. My name's Nick Bewley. It's great to be alongside Leroy Greenaway for this one.
Yeah, welcome in, Nick.
We've got
a great final here coming up.
It's going to be a beauty. 5 minutes away from ball up, and has to be said, the Eastern Blues were probably the roaring favourites in this one. Outside of a couple of the games early doors, they've really put some big scores on. But hey, it's a final, anything can happen. How do you see it playing out?
Well, yes, the University Cougars have probably fought their match last week, heading into the final. They beat the Mid-Canterbury Eagles last week in the semi. Whether that's enough to compete with the Blues, who've been very, very dominant during the season. They had a couple of rocky games in the first 4 weeks, but since then they've just been scoring plenty and almost at will, Nick.
Yeah, I know that firsthand, playing for the Doggies. It's been a bit tough going for our defensive line. Let's just have a quick look at the teams, what's been provided to us, starting with the Blues, and in their back line, we've got Andy Herod, Hayden Johnston and Louis Voisin, Connor Allnut, Jared Court and Buzz, James Bowden. And then in midfield, DJ Killen, Dan Farrer, or Faz as he's known, best and fairest 2 years running, in number 11, and Joe Harpy. Leighton Cahill is the ruck, Josh Mackey and Jay Johnson among the Rovers. Jack Sinnott, Phil Henderson and Josh Charlton. Up front, and Dan Benny, Kieran Charlton, who's the competition's leading goal scorer. I think he snagged
35
35
goals.
Not bad, eh?
Yeah.
I think I kicked 7 this year, but anyway, and young Will Evans in 14 as well. So, look, across the park, the Blues have recruited well. A couple of guys coming up from Dunedin this year, and Josh Mackey and Hayden Johnston have had quite an influence on the team. But, if you were, someone who's just tuning in today, first sort of experience of AFL, who would be the players that you're looking at who are going to likely have a strong influence on this grand final?
Oh, it's got to be Jay Johnson for the Blues, and he's got to be the first one because he's the superstar in the Blues, and he is almost everywhere. He may not be the goal scorer that the Charlton boys are. He's definitely a big rover. Rover's a good name for him because he's just everywhere when it comes to the action. Dan Farrer, of course, best and fairest, as you mentioned, 2 years in a row. He is a dominant player. Dan Benny's another one who gets around the park very, very quickly. He was also up there in competing for the best and fairest as well. So there's a lot of others. When you look at defence here, James Bowden does a lot for them, as does Jared Court. So they're a very, very strong team, the Blues.
Very well rounded. On the Cougars side, starting with their back line, Will Schmidt, Davis Gale and Jinxie, Adam Clark there in the back, and then we've got Ngātapu, Hingston and Nathan Ryan, and it looks like the Cougars are going to line up with an extra out the back, and that probably just goes to show how strong the Blues are up front, with Brennan Clark there as sort of a roving defender. We've got Jamie Wooden and Hamish Ross on the wings. Latham Fairhall is the Cougars ruck, with Connor Hamlin, Brad Mavor, a monster as he's well known as, and George Reid is the Cougars captain in 9. Then in their front line, Dan Brooks, Jacob Eadie. We've got Xavier Giles, Buchanan and Muir up front.
And the key players for them, Brad Maver's probably the one that stands out for them, and Nathan Ryan there, bangers. He's very much so. We're just about ready to start here. We've got the umpires, better mention them. Matt Corley, Steve Langridge and Jason Beck are the central umpires, and on the sideline we're doing boundary. We've got Terry Anderson and Henry, and I can't remember Henry's surname. So we're just got ball up, just about ready to start there.
Yeah, Matt Corley in the middle with the honour.
Yeah, umpire of the year he was this year, so he gets to start the match.
Look out, look out. Blues running left to right from the vantage point of our cameras. There is a bit of a wind, as there always is here at QE2, going cross field, so we'll see a fair bit of action over on the gymnastics end. But here we go, we're underway in the grand final. CAFL 2022, who will it be, the Blues or the Cougars? And it's an early possession for the Blues, and they bang it down into the front line. Will Evans in pursuit, and there's bangers as he's known. Nathan Ryan with the ball early, evades the tackle, but good spot tackle there from the Blues. It's a little bit scrappy there on the ground, and I think the referees will have this one.
Here. Yeah, so we're going to ball up there. Steve Langridge in there quickly to To no, he's given a free kick to the Cougars. I didn't see what the infringement was.
Might have been in the back there as Cougars look to make that way down midfield, but a strong mark there from Buzz for the Blues. He's got a big right boot on him as well, and the Blues go back down towards their attacking third. Again, on the ground. And we're going to see a fair bit of play along this boundary line, aren't we? Just the way the wind is coming in at the moment. There's Dan Faz, as he's known as to most in AFL circles. And we have our first boundary throw.
Yeah, ball up from the boundary, yes. We've got the two ruckmen going for it. What have we got here?
Well, that's Buzz again, James Bowden, who's just managed to get that one free from the handball. Bobbles around a bit. A little bit scrappy to start as these two sides get each other's measure. And another whistle, and this time it's the way of the Blues. Just outside the 50-yard line. And it's young Josh Charlton with the ball. And rather than end over end, he's tried to spiral that one into his brother, Kieran Charlton. Bobbles around a little bit there. Yeah, Jack Sinnott with it. Fashions a kick. This might be close.
Just a 1 point there, so we've got a behind for the Blues to open the scoring.
Yeah, for those just unfamiliar with the scoring in AFL, behind 1 point, goal 6 points. And if it hits one of the four uprights, it is a 1 point as well.
Well, not necessarily. If it hits on the full on the behind uprights, it's a boundary out. So.
Okay. No, fair clarification there, Leroy. Leroy does usually the umpiring as well, so I should know better. I'm a player. I think I know all the rules. But here we have it with the Blues as Sinnott tries to keep it in play and
we'll have a throw in here.
Hasn't been able to do so. So again, Blues dominating territory early doors with an early 1-0 advantage.
This is expected though, because I mean with the wind and with the dominance that the Blues have had, we expect them to be, territorial in this stage of the match. Going out again.
Good work there from Voisin. And 9. Voisin, he's just clarified. French. Thanks, Louis. We're right in the thick of it here. These players won't be used to being in everyone's televisions and phones.
So there with the ball. So him and Jay Johnson, they're fighting for the Blues. And who we got there in the Cougars area there It was
in 32. That's, by my calculations, there's a lot of 30s there.
And also Brennan Clark was there, number 2 as well. But the 32, I'm not sure who the 32 is. Is he one of those extra ones that we don't have a number to?
Must be. And we're going to have another ball up here. So the two ruckmen, the two big bodies there, we've got Leighton Cahill for the Blues and Latham Fairhill for the Cougars. And the middies there, or the Rovers as they're known. Gee, that's a serious hairstyle there in number 6 from one of the Blues. In blue, fashionably. Bowden with it now. Buzz gets the handball away.
Here we go. There's Monster Bradenova there with the ball. He's going to be the one who's going to be doing most of the work for the Cougars.
Oh, what a tackle that is. There. Josh Mackey. And through comes...
Through.
And a bit of how's your father and back play. We're going to have a stoppage here.
There we go.
Goodness gracious me, right in front of us. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Connor Allnut, Jay Johnson for the Blues, and number 13, which is Josh Mackey. He's come all the way up. We've got that 32, who I think is Jamie Wooden, looking at the hairstyle. Connor Hamlin
in the mix as well.
And number 35 is, who's the number 35?
35 is the ruck, Latham Fairhill.
Yeah, so they were the ones who were in that bit of a stoush there.
So the call is going to be a Cougars kick from where that kick went through, and looks like Nathan Ryan there bangers with possession. So just a bit of argy-bargy early doors, people getting familiar with each other. And lovely mark there from Sinnott in 22.
And puts a nice kick in through. Charlton almost grabbing it there, but not quite, just getting a hand to it. And although we're going out into the corner pocket there, so a bit of an appeal there by the Blues. But it's a free kick to the Cougars.
Actually looked like a bit of a miscommunication there, because Evans was there. He looked like he could have taken a clean mark, but Charlton being the full forward came through. But the Cougars, about 5 or 6 minutes in, I think they'll be relatively happy to only just be the one behind on the score for the Blues. A lot of play, though, as you mentioned, Leroy, in this Blues front third.
if they can hold on, down this end, keep them as scoreless as possible, they'll build confidence, and that could pay a good dividend for them in the end, because that's what they need. They need to build their confidence as the game goes on, and if they can hold them and keep holding them, the Blues will get frustrated. And there's a few in that Blues team who, as we're playing against them, they get a bit of a short fuse from time to time, as we just saw just in front of us.
Just a bit. As the Cougars through Ryan make their way towards midfield, and again it's along that boundary line to the far side from our vantage point, and it will be another boundary throw in front of the Christchurch School of Gymnastics. I must say, Leroy, I'm distracted by a few punters behind the goal for the Blues there. We've got Mario and Luigi. Looks like a bit of a stag do going on. Not sure if we can get one of the cameras on that a bit later on, but it's all happening here at QE2, early doors in the CAFL Grand Final. Blues with a 1-0 advantage over the University Cougars.
What a good event to come down to a stag do, though.
100%. Get amongst the festivities of a grand final. Bring an esky down.
Nice high throw there by the umpire. So who have we got here?
And then this is Faz, Dan Farrett in 11. 2J Johnson now evades the Cougars tackle. Fashions a kick.
One there.
So it looks like Cougars have possession. And here comes their ruck.
It's very scrappy at the moment, so it's anyone's ball, really.
That's some solid contact there from the Cougars. And again, it's just staying on the ground. And Langridge, the referees umpires allowing that one to play on, and fair play too. We're going to have another boundary throw, almost smack bang in midfield. As Fairhill and Cahill go up for this one. And looks like Monster's going to come through. In fact, no, it's Hamish Ross for the
Still
Cougars.
Very scrappy for both teams, though. It's not really a clear-cut ball for anyone at the moment.
Cries a ball there, but they play on. There's Josh Charlton, fashions a kick. It's a bit of decent contact on that one. Sinnott, great mark there, though, from Nathan Ryan. And you mentioned him pre-game, Leroy. He's such a veteran presence, really, in the Cougars' back line, and he's going to have to be at his best today.
Yeah, definitely. And he's already started with a good start in this game. It's another free kick to the Cougars here. So this will get them some territorial advantage. Looks like Giles is going to take the kick here for the Cougars, and he kicks it downfield, looking for Dan Brooks there. He's just gone over the top of Brooks, but it's been picked up there by number 9. Who's number 9?
I think it's Edie.
Edie?
Yeah, Jacob
was it
Edie?
George Reid?
George Reid, excuse me. Yeah.
Yes.
But
it's cleared by the Blues as we get downfield to nearly halfway there.
That's a good kick there, bringing Dan Brooks forward. Solid mark, decides to play on. Nice low kick given the win. Giles is right there, but there's Hayden Johnston, and sells a bit of candy before banging that one the best part of 50 metres downfield. It is expertly taken there by jersey 3, which is it
Adam Clark.
Is Jinxie all the way up there? Goodness gracious me.
Yeah, he's usually a lot further back than that.
And we got a 50 metre. Not sure what the call is. Is it a bit of back chat?
It would have been advanced on the kicker there. Once you get a free kick, you can't advance. You've got to stay in that position. If you advance too early, then that's a 50 metre. And we saw the Cougars win their last round robin match against the Eagles by 1 point because of that particular ruling too. When they got a 50 metre advance downfield, and they got that 1 point to win the game by 1 point.
Here comes Dan Brooks, the size up front for the Cougars. Edie. Now it looks like it's going to go out of bounds.
Out on the full too, so that's got to be a free kick to the Blues.
But good signs there for the Cougars, I must say.
Looking really good, bro. Well done.
But Hayden Johnston, full back there for the Blues. And that's an exceptional mark there from Josh Charlton. Gets the Blues on the front foot. And
another big kick downfield too by Charlton, as we expect with the wind, which is almost behind them there. Is that Jake Sinnott there?
Jack Sinnott in 22. Bit of a banana kick, that one. Evades the Cougars defender.
Oh, Dan Benny. Here we go. Another pop from him.
And that's out of bounds on the full.
That's
just a bit wayward early doors from our goal kickers. So Cougars will kick out from the boundary line. Remains 1-0 in favour of the Blues.
It was funny, we were talking before the game about one of our commentators there, Lockie Keaton. He's been designated to look after the scoring, and he hasn't had a lot to do in this match so far, as we were talking about. It happens few and far between, perhaps not quite as few and far between as we've had so far, though.
It's a great mark there by Maevor, Monster, as he's affectionately known, and gets on with it pretty rapidly, but not his best kick there, and it looks like Josh Charlton tidies up. But again, another wayward kick straight down the throat of one of the Cougar players. Looked like 30 hinched in there. And the half-back line, a fair bit of contact on Nathan Ryan as he looked to clear.
Well, I suppose that's one thing that the Blues will be targeting. That will be one of the players from the Cougars side that, you know, if they'll target him and try and nullify his effect, because he's very strong around the field.
There's your man there, Jay Johnson, again with a smother, but the Cougars back with it and kick it down that boundary line towards the forward 50.
Looks like we're going to have a throw-in
Bounces
from the veteran
just out of
umpire,
bounds.
Terry Anderson.
The goat, Terry Anderson. Seen a few of these.
He telling me he had a shoulder operation earlier, so it's good that he can get one of his arms out to throw the ball in. Not a bad throw either.
Here's the Cougars. It goes straight down Cordy's throat. And one of the biggest boots in Caffel will...
Yeah, with the wind behind him, that's got to go a monster distance when you think about it. He's just in a chip. Yeah,
that was a bit of a measured kick from him, and expertly done too. Finds Josh Charlton up towards midfield. Charlton assesses the options. That's a big old kick towards the front 50. Here comes Kieran Charlton.
Oh, and he's got it too. Gets it too. So Kieran Charlton will go for goal here. He's close enough, I think. Right on the boundary, right on the 50 line there.
Looks like he is going to have a go. And I tell you what, this is going pretty close. And I think was it a mark there?
It is a mark.
It is a mark. Who is that from the Blues in 15?
That's Joe Harpy.
Joe Harpy up there.
Great take.
And our first goal. Our first goal of the grand final goes to the Eastern Blues. Joe Harpy.
So that's a 6-pointer for the Blues. That takes them up to 7. 7-0 in the final.
Well, it just goes to show, doesn't it, Leroy, how simple AFL really can be. That was a kick from Cordy, from the back 50 to Josh Charlton, then to his brother Kieran Charlton, and then a mark there, and 4 kicks and a goal.
Yeah, and expertly taken by all 4 of the takers. So back to the centre for another ball up, and here we go. Markers are in.
Cahill and Fairhill, and a good punch forward there from the former. And it squeezes out Phil Henderson in the thick of it there. And it goes eventually to one of the Cougars players. There's your man, Jay Johnson again, Leroy in the thick of it. And is it going to get free? Yes, it does eventually. There's Henderson. Gets a right boot on it.
Now the Cougars need to contest this because they don't want the Blues to score again. Oh, they're giving the ball away after they had it too. And what have we got? 1 point there from Jake Sinnott.
So one added to the score. 8-0 now for the Blues, and that's an awful kick. That is an awful kick. It has to be said. Straight back to Sinnott, and from about 25-30 out on the angle to the left, he'll have another pop at goal and look to make this an early 14-0 lead for the Eastern Blues. Cousin of, oh gee whiz.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good kick there. What happened? He was trying for the centre, but he didn't find his player. And so now it's up to the Cougars, or the few tackles have been a bit high there on the Cougars players. It's been missed. Dan Benny running away with the ball there, but the whistle's gone.
I think they are going to call it high, are they, eventually? Or is it, no, is it
it's going to be a
ball up? Yeah, I agree with you there, Leroy. That was about as high as you can get, but anyway.
Yeah, ball up goes up. It's the one thing that we have when those ball ups, we have a mass of players all contesting the ball. Once it's two are supposed to compete for the ball and the ball up, and then but we have about 4 or 5 players all hovering around, and it ends up going anywhere.
Good intervention there by Maevor. Swinging tackle from Johnson, and I think we're going to have another ball up here unless it can trickle its way out, the Sharon, and it can actually. There's Phil Henderson, all 6'4" of him. It's not going to have the distance on that one. He had the accuracy, and in fact, it's marked by our top goal scorer, Kieran Charlton. Yeah. There is a bit of confusion there, though, and all of a sudden we have a Cougars mark, and a nice kick there to...
Oh, he must have taken it out of the hands of the Cougars player when under the goalpost here. Just our view just blocked from some of the other players, unfortunately, so we didn't actually see specifically what happened, but that's what appears to have happened.
8-0 the Blues lead in this first quarter of the CAFL Grand Final. First goal scorer, Joe Harpy. A couple of behinds as well. I was actually just about to say some pretty good pedigree, I guess you could say. Jack Sinnott, cousin of Zoe Sadowski Sinnott, Winter Olympic gold medalist in snowboarding. So, fun fact for you. As the Cougars go forward, and again, it looks like Johnston there, stalking the ball, just sort of bobbles around in front of him, but a nice hand pass. A wee 1-2 there with Farah, and then a kick in front, allowing one of the Blues players to chase, and then bang it upfield towards Charlton in the 50, and that's gone straight through the breadbasket. But the Blues might still like their chances there. Good work though from the Cougars back line, and a whistle.
Yeah, maybe that extra player in the Cougars backline is helping them, just smothering the attack a little bit there, because the Blues are having a little difficulty getting it into that final little wee bit. So maybe that's the thing for them.
Good kick there from Hamish Ross. Sorry, Leroy Brooksy forward, and there's Jean Blanco storming onto it. Oh, what an intervention from Allnut. It's still there for the Cougars, but that is some tackle there on the man sporting the blue here, Connor Allnut, and a bit of carry on too.
Against the Cougars players. 1 point anyway, and amongst all of this for the Cougars, so they're on the board, and it's 8-1.
Only an opportunity going begging there from the Cougars. It was a great counter attack, but
so Jared Court now starting to clear it out. Dan Farrar getting the next shot there. Maybe is going to try and defend that. That's heading towards the sideline here, and missed.
Stays in the field of play though. Clark with it, Jinxie to Jean Blanco. Nice little sidestep there. Gets it on the right boot, but I think Johnston likes this one. Good contest, and high is the call on Johnston, so it will be Blues possession. No, certainly one for the highlight reel though. That intervention from Connor Allnut looked like a goal for all money, but as you said, Leroy, the Cougars are on the board, and Brooksy, that's a good smother there from him, and the clearance from Johnson.
Johnson going in there trying to get the ball out of Brooksy's hands there, but the umpire's going to have none of this. We're going to have a ball up. Brooksy's going to contest it with
Phil Henderson. And it's a good contest there, and a couple of the taller players in our CAFL Grand Final. Is this one going to get out?
Middle there, trying to get the ball. Is he going to get it free? No. Another ball up here.
So it looks like Henderson's moved into the ruck.
Oh, we got a free kick here to the Cougars. Playing the player as they went up, I think, is the call there. Henderson in the ball up. So who's going to clear it? It's not going to be Fairhall. It looks like it's going to be
Jean Blanco, Ollie. And he'll send it forward straight into Buzz.
Yeah, James Bowden there, as he does well. He's always in there moving. Jean Blanco, oh, that was taken high there. Jean Blanco, I don't think it was missed as well as Connor Hamlin with the ball.
Great kick off the left from Mavor, and then, that goes through Edie. Has it gone out of bounds?
No, not yet. There's Connor Allnut clearing it for the Blues.
Going to come right in front of us here.
Bowden there going for the ball with Henry.
Bounces past both. The Cougars have possession.
Brennan Clark with the kick across field, going right across the field to the far side. And who have we got over there? Xavier Giles for the Cougars is one of them, and it looks like, who's that from the Blues there? He's gone buried into the ruck there now. So.
We'll wait and see. Looks like this ball isn't going to get out of here, and Matt Corley with the call.
Yep.
So encouraging signs, I must say. Call me cynical, but I thought it was going to be a big margin early doors, and 8-1 in the first quarter. So the Cougars have held their own as Bowden tidies up for the Blues.
Yeah, and we thought more of that
great
too.
Interception.
We thought more of that too, in terms of it was going to be more of the Blues because of the fact that the wind seems to be helping them more. But the Cougars are playing well.
So this is Jacob Eadie with possession. Mark around that 50-metre line. I think with the wind, it
might go a bit short here, but Brooksy's positioned himself. You can see he's right under the post. Is he going to take it?
He's got the right matchup. What a mark. What a mark from Dan Brooks right in front of the goal. And the Cougars, this is most definitely their best scoring opportunity. and they could bring it to within 1 point.
He doesn't want to go too far back and get it too high because he doesn't want the wind to blow it away from the goal. But if you want accuracy, straight down the middle.
And he likes it. He loves it.
6 points to the Cougars. So it's now 8-7. Blues lead in this grand final, Canterbury AFL. So we head back to the centre here for another restart in the middle of the... Oh, there we go. We've got a whistle. That is quarter time.
So there we have it, 8-7. So a goal 2 to a goal 1 in favour of the Eastern Blues. And Leroy, yeah, that's a huge confidence boost there for the Cougars. The last act of the first quarter, and that was a great kick from Jacob Eadie. You know, he had his target there. It was clear tactics as to what they were doing. Got the mismatch. Brooks takes the mark right in front of goal. Easy as you like, and it's a 1 point ball game.
Yeah. So we've got 1 goal each. Joe Harvey for the Blues, Dan Brooks for the Cougars, and 2 behinds for the Blues to 1, giving the 8-7 scoreline at first quarter time.
I wonder too that as the two sides, take on some waters and some advice from the coaches, particularly in the Blues side, whether that extra man there in the back line for the Cougars is something they'll have a wee look at. It just seems to be disrupting their flow a little bit into the attacking third. My
point exactly.
Looks like we're bringing Terry Anderson in, and it looks like he agrees with me, Terry. I was just saying there that the Cougars have sent another defender back, so it's effectively 7-on-6 for the Blues as they take it forward. Have you noticed there that's disrupting the Blues' flow a little bit?
Well, certainly when they get in the forward line, they're one man down, but they're in defence, the Blues are almost impassable. I mentioned that to the Cougars coaching squad. They need to man up on the spare defender in their forward line. But I think at the end of that quarter, they're able to get the ball in deep over that spare defender and were able to take a good mark there, not far out from goal, so they converted.
You're right in the mix there, Terry. How is this wind? It's a lot of play over to the far side, the gymnastic side, if you will. So it's breaking a bit of habit.
It's always like that here. The wind blows from the coast there, and Leroy Ōtautahi is very busy when he's boundary umpiring that side of the ground. But to their credit, the players are switching the play sometimes and bringing it over to the fat side, where it's a bit not so many players. So that's good. That's the good teams do that, don't they? They're able to switch the play, get a man out on his own who can move the ball quickly down to their end of the ground. So hopefully, both sides will take advantage of that switch option.
Indeed, and Dan Brooks, that was a very important goal for the Cougars.
Great mark.
Jacob Eadie obviously saw the lead there. He got the mismatch with Brooks. I mean, how much of a confidence boost is that for the Cougars?
Oh, you can see the Cougars were wrapped after that goal, weren't they? I think that lifted their spirits. I think they scored a goal each that quarter, have they?
Yep.
Yes,
so
1-2, 1-1.
Yeah, I think everybody would have thought it's going to be a cakewalk for the Blues, but it's good to see the Cougars have actually made a bit of a showed up today, and they're going in hard and winning a lot of contested ball. Around the centre, it's not the Blues are not dominating like I thought they would. So all credit to the Cougars there.
I said earlier in the game there, Terry, that the Cougars, if they can hold out the Blues, and they'll build confidence, and I think that's what's happened. They built confidence, and they were able to get that opportunity and take it. They're going to go from here, aren't they, in terms of confidence? Yeah,
I just said before, that spare defender the Blues have got up in defence, it's okay when the ball's going their way, but if they can get it over that spare defender, move the ball quickly, you've got to move it quickly, because, James Bowden is out there, or Jarry Court, they've played 200 games between them, or probably each 400 games. So, that's difficult. They read the play very well. So the Cougars are fooling themselves. They think they can leave those guys running around on their own. They'll just chop it off every day. So.
And from a personal point of view, mate, how's the shoulder? You got the first boundary throw in, okay?
Oh, yeah, no, the right shoulder's not too bad after surgery, magical surgery, but it's about 10 years ago. But no, it's good. And Henry's doing a great job out there. We're missing Leroy, of course, and Adrian's now shown up to take this whole side of the ground, but he's a marathon runner.
Oh, there you go.
So he should be able to handle the whole length.
Well, appreciate your thoughts, mate. Appreciate your thoughts. Terry Anderson, the great man, he'll go take his spot back on the boundary line. Moments away from the second quarter, and as Terry mentioned there, some people would have thought, including me, Leroy, might be a bit of a cakewalk for this Blues side. Actually, see if I can get the Tribe Sports app up and just run through some of these scores that they have put on some of our teams, including sadly my team, the Christchurch Bulldogs.
Yeah, while we're here, Nick, you want to mention how come you guys?
It's a long story, mate. We don't have time. Second quarter's about to start, but so if we look back, for example, round 9, the Blues beat the Bulldogs 127-16. The Blues beat the Cougars in round 8, 92-25.
But if you go back to
121 to 8, yeah.
You guys beat the Cougars by 100
Well, that's
points.
it. Yeah, it's a very bizarre season, really, if you will. Whether it was just a bit of rust from some of the better teams that found their form. We obviously peaked far too early. But anyway, that's by the by. 8 points to 7 as we look to start the second quarter. For those unaware, the two sides do change ends. So I think we're underway. Morgan seems to be happy. Thumbs are up. Let's get it on. It's the Cougars running with this. It is a bit of a crossfield win, but slightly at their back, and we're back underway. Ball up in the centre circle, and good run through there from Connor for the Cougars. Sends that one forward. Looks like it's going to evade the Cougars goal scorer there, Dan Brooks. So it will be a boundary throw in the Cougars forward third. But that's exactly where they want to be. They want to camp out down this end, use the wind to their advantage, and build on this score.
We might have a few more ball outs over in that corner with the Cougars going in this direction. You know, I remember a few weeks back there, I think I must have had about, doing that particular corner, I must have had about 30 throws per quarter. It was ridiculous.
Mavor onto the right, snap. Oh, it's just fallen short. Has it bounced out of bounds, or is it a behind? A behind is the call. So we have a tie ball game in the CAFL Grand Final. 8 apiece. Hayden Johnston there at full-back for the Blues. Decides a handball. You don't see that all too often, but showing his experience and versatility there. The kick through as one of the Blues players comes forward, just outside the forward 50. There's Buzz. James Bowden. It's taken down high by the looks is the call. So we'll stay with the Eastern Blues.
Yeah, he went down on the ball there, and players are not supposed to go straight on top of him either. So a couple of penalty options there for the umpires.
Here come the Blues into their forward 50. 2-on-1 there for the Cougars, but good work there from the Blues. It's a handball away, but straight into the passage of a Cougars defender. Not the best clearance. Straight to Phil Henderson. He gets on with it. He'll have to get rid of it.
Oh, he's got caught from behind.
Don't the Cougars bench love that? Right in front of the Cougars bench, and they're up and racing again. Edie goes through the hands. Bit of a miscommunication there. Oh, that's high. Certainly high. Someone disagrees. The man with the whistle, and we play on. And eventually it'll be with the Cougars. And that's high too. Goodness gracious me. The Blues player knew about that one. That was our goal scorer, Joe Arpey.
It's a shame, really, because the umpires have been very strict with the high tackles during the season, and having the grand final, we want to see the same consistency.
Great mark again. Dan Brooks goes quickly, low. Straight to a Cougars player right in front of goal. I think that's Jacob Edie. And I think the Cougars are going to have their first lead of the Canterbury Grand Final in AFL. 8 points apiece, but Edie's right in front of the sticks. There's a wee survey of the wind. Hasn't changed one bit, right to left. Oh, straight into the Blues. Player on the mark, can you believe it? And a ball. And don't the punters behind the post love it?
And the Cougars.
And 50. Well, what a moment. 8 apiece.
Cougars are ruining that opportunity now. You can see they really are ruining it.
Well, he just needed to take a bit more time, in my opinion.
No need to rush it. Jay Johnson there going for a run.
Oh, great tackle though. Has to get rid of it.
Yes, he's got Corner Allnut there with the ball. Gets a sort of a half kick away. Not 15, so they have to play on. Went to Ollie Jambaklo. And he kicks it downfield, heading towards
just
the
stays
sideline.
in. Xavier Giles, is it? No, it just goes out of bounds. Oh, it's a big moment, Leroy. That's a big moment. Jot that one down. 8 apiece. Should have been 14-8. But
yeah, they couldn't even get the behind because it was blocked. Well blocked by the defenders, though.
Yeah, exactly. You could easily rue your mistake, but that Blues defender, unsure who it was certainly aware of the threat and good intervention.
That's out on the full, unfortunately, for the Blues. So it's going to be a free kick to the Cougars. We're about 70 metres out here, looking at where they are on the field of play for the free kick.
Looks like Hamish Ross with possession, and a nice kick there through to Nathan Ryan. Opens the angle. Are they going to go cross into the wind? No, straight up the guts.
low trajectory kick there. So is the wind changed direction or something? Because that wasn't using the wind there. He kicked quite low.
And a handball goes astray and into one of the Cougars players. Bounce in front of Brooks. He'll snap at goal. No, that's off the side of the foot. Can Giles get underneath it?
He's got it.
No, he hasn't. It's just slipped through. But a high. High is the call as Xavier Giles went up to take that mark.
And
so
that's against Connor Allnut too from the Blues. So
very kickable with the wind at the back.
What do you say, about 20 metres out here looking at that?
On the angle, and wind right at the back for Xavier Giles. 8 apiece. Can the Cougars find the lead for the first time in this CAFL Grand Final? They will. But is it a goal?
It's only going to be
Let's wait for the signal. It is a behind. So the Cougars do take the lead, but just by 1. 9 points to 8 in favour of the University Cougars as the Blues get on with it from the goal line clearance. Straight to one of the Cougars players who gets it forward. Edie goes up and it comes off the shoulder. Bounces in front of Buzz, James Bowden, and eventually out of bounds. So a lot of play, just like in the first quarter, Leroy, down this end of the park. And the Cougars, if they can make some of these opportunities count, really, they should be up by a couple of goals. But the Blues have got out of jail, so to speak.
Oh, trying to snap one there again, one of the Cougars players, but again, it's a missed kick. It's opportunity here for the Blues to clear it through Charlton. Gets it downfield with a big kick. Sinnott's racing after the ball. He's got one of the Cougars players with him. I think that's Brennan Clark there that's chasing him down.
Good contest there. Both players keeping their feet before it heads to the ground, and it will be a ball up just in front of the Cougars bench, so about 60, 70 metres away from the Blues attacking goal. Ball up. Mackie, I think they're contesting that one. Gets a hand to it, and Johnson bangs it forward.
What have we got here with the ball? So
looks like Sinnott running through, but it just evades him. Again, it's just a little messy. A lot of players in and around the ball there. And I think we'll have the ball up eventually, will we?
Yeah, that's one thing that you'd see through commentating rugby a lot there, Nick, is a lot of rucks and mauls there. The ball goes in there. It's very hard to see some of the players. And in this case, you don't have quite the same situation, but you still get a lot of players all in a close proximity in a ruck and a maul situation here.
Certainly do, certainly do. That was a good fist forward at the ball up from Phil Henderson, but looks like it's gone out of bounds to our man Terry Anderson. We'll get another crack from the boundary throw down in the Blues forward 50, right in front of the QE2 hydroslide, and Sinnott has possession, wrapped up though well, and ball is the call.
Yeah, he caught with the ball,
wrapped up.
Clearance chance for the Cougars.
And it's Ollie Jean Blanco who's got a fair bit of purchase on that one. Right down to Dan Brooks. It's a clear tactic. He's their man. He's their tallest bloke essentially out on the park as that one heads to the ground.
And the idea also to use the wind to get it down the field as quickly as they can to those players like Dan Brooks, Brad Maver, those sorts of players. They'll position themselves hopefully where the ball is going to go for the Cougars. We've got a clearance here for the Blues, and it's gone straight again to another one of the Cougars players.
Nathan Ryan, he's like a magnet to it at the moment. Always right place, right times, played a lot of footy, and that's a really good kick just out of the grasp of Mavor.
Yeah, contest between Maver and Charlton there for it.
A great handball along the ground to Adam Clark, Jinxie, and what's the call here? Over the shoulder, and that is in favour of the Blues. So that is Cam Kilty, who will have possession, and jersey 30 for the Blues off the substitution. So for those unaware, rolling subs effectively, 18 on 18, and a bench of 6. And again, there's my man, Nathan Ryan. He's like a magnet to it. Just knows where to be and when.
To the side for Adam Clark there, so we're off to the side of the field. See if we can get
sells the can. He might need to put a bounce in. Yes, he does.
He's coming
Gets rid of Josh Charlton. He comes back for more.
Edie there trying to clear it, but no. Looks like Jared Court. He's a long way upfield, isn't Jared Court? It's usually in the defensive position. And there's a big tackle on Adam Clark. Looks like he's a bit winded there after all that. It's a free kick.
That was Josh Charlton. He might get away with that in rugby, but not in Aussie rules. up above the horizontal, and Clark Jinksy's just checking if all his ribs are still there as he wanders back and
have a breather there before he takes his kick.
Yeah, I think he'll use every part of the 30 seconds here. Has a bit of a go and gets it onto the right, sends it forward, but straight to Dan Farrer, two-time best and fairest in CAFL, the West Australian. One of the Cougars players running straight through the mark. I can see what
they're... their captain too. He should know better rather than getting anywhere near. He's lucky there wasn't a 50-metre penalty against him for doing that.
Great kick from Court to Sinnott in the forward 50. In the
Nathan
left pocket
Ryan
there.
Opposing him, trying to stop it from going anywhere. So here we go. Is they going for the goal? No, not quite. He's going to be just outside. But the Cougars...
Try and get a handball away. Gets into the hands of the number 5, Dan Benny. Banana, but goes through for a behind. So we have a tied ball game once more.
8-all.
9-all? 9-all. 1 goal, 3, 1 goal, 3. 9 apiece.
Yes, that's right.
Midway through the second quarter of the Canterbury AFL Grand Final, Eastern Blues, University Cougars. Back on the far side now with the Cougars. Needs to get rid of it. And jersey 1, that's a nice kick, but a really strong fist from Johnston and the Blues defensive line, and the Eastern Blues are back with it, and that's an exceptional kick and mark. That's Ōtautahi Henry.
Yes.
Up front for the Blues. That mark, what do you reckon, Leroy? About 40, maybe 35 metres out from goal?
Yeah, about that. Ōtautahi Henry, a very underrated player. He does a lot of work for the Blues around the field, but he doesn't get a mention from anyone, really. Okay, we've got a clearance here by Adam Clark, but it's gone pretty much off to the sideline, off to the side from the goalpost there. So we're going to have the umpire on this side, which is Adrian Clark, to throw in, and it's going to be going back out again.
You might get another crack, yeah. Have another boundary throw.
It's not easy to throw in when they've got this wind here. Quite often you'll find it come bouncing back at you. Especially when you're trying to throw into the wind. Here it goes, up in the air.
And the Blues with it through Farrer. And gets the kick away, bringing Will Evans forward. I've heard a whistle, and I think it was in the back there from Evans, so it will go the way of the Cougars.
Yeah, Brennan Clark looks like he's going to be taking the free kick for the Cougars here. Will Evans will try and block it.
I'm really impressed with the Cougars. Well, I should say back 6, but back 7 effectively. They've really nullified the threat of the Blues. And
yeah, Josh Mackey just there taken there with the ball, and so they're going to lose the possession. It's going to be a kick for the Cougars there, number 15 for the Cougars.
I think it's 35 actually. Latham Fairhall, who's played a fair bit in the ruck. It's not a great kick. It's going to bounce in front of one of the Cougars players, goes over the shoulder.
Yeah, those are nasty kicks, those ones when they bounce along like that. They could go anywhere. It's like a rugby ball, an AFL ball. It's a nasty bounce. Henry there with a kick through, and looking for Sinnott, but it's going to go to a Cougar and out.
Out of bounds there. Yep, that's number 9, George Reid, the Cougars captain, is just cleaning up at the back for the Cougars.
It's a shame for the Cougars that he couldn't take that clearly on the full, because that would have been a great clearing opportunity for them.
Here it is for... Well, either team really is. It bobbles in front, and there's Henry.
Yeah,
but an impact off the bench.
Downfield. Where's that gone? Is that gone for a 1 point?
I believe it has.
It looks like 1 point.
Our man Dean Cameron from the Dogs.
Yeah, it takes a 1 point lead for the Blues, 10-9.
10 points to 9. So 1 goal, 4 plays, 1 goal, 3 low scoring encounter thus far in the CAFL Grand Final between the Blues and the Cougars. As Cougars look for some territory. Good work there from Charlton for the Blues. Smothered, and the call is that he had an opportunity to get rid of it and wasn't able to do so.
And it's good to see that he didn't try and do anything with the ball. He just held out, and when he was told to give it back, he did too. It was a free kick, and sometimes a downfield for 50 metres if you do something with the ball other than leave it for the opposition to take their free kicks.
Couple of great smothers there both ways, and it's going to be a ball up. Again, Farrer, just as the Cougars look to try and bring it forward, he just knows where to be, Dan Farrer. And that's a good fist there from the Blues ruckman. Cahill to Farrer. Here's Jack Sinnott once more. He's got serious jets, this fella. Gets it
Does
around.
a touch on
Brennan.
the ground through. Looks like another 1 point there, so
Another
11-9
behind.
to the Blues. Interesting there for those who are watching the feed there. You would have seen him put the ball on the ground. You can bounce it, you can put the ball on the ground. You've got to do that, so you can't, every 10 metres or so, you can't run more than 10 metres with the ball.
I like how you said or so, because it very much is subjective, isn't
Yes,
it, Leroy,
it's very
depending on where you are in the park. So I've found that out the hard way a couple of times. As
There is a definitive distance in the laws.
We've got another 50. We've got another 50 for a bit of carry on off the ball. So to interrupt, a bit of push and shove. They're letting the Cougars player know about it. That was silly stuff, really, given the territorial advantage the Cougars had there. And Blues march upfield, and that's a great kick from Bowden. Finds Sinnott once more towards that 50-metre line.
Cougars didn't need to do anything stupid like that. They've been playing well. They've been pushing the Blues, testing them, and that's just going to play into the Blues' hands, because now the Blues have got territorial position.
What have we got? Another 50. I think it was off the mark. He went forward to try and smother.
And now we're about 10, 15 metres out, not far from the goal line.
That is so costly. Two
yeah.
50s.
Yeah.
You know, that's pull your hair out stuff for the Cougars coach. And Jack Sinnott, he missed one from right in front in the first quarter and makes no mistake in the second. We've got our second goal. Well, third goal of the match. Second goal for the Blues.
17-9 now the Blues lead over the Cougars in the grand final. So that's not what the Cougars wanted. With the way that they were playing well, and now all of a sudden they find themselves more than a goal behind, and that's crucial.
Yeah, discipline key. So an 8-point buffer. Approaching half-time, Matt Corley in the middle. And again, it's
4 minutes to go in the half. I'm looking at the time.
Good work there from Mavor on Mackie. No call, though. And eventually we've got a whistle and we'll have another ball up. Approaching half-time. And it'll be Cahill and Fairhill up once more. It's been a good contest in the ruck, but looked like, I thought Fairhill didn't really have his eyes on the ball there. He sort of went for the contact as opposed to going up for it. And
a shorter guy too, that doesn't help. You know, he's up against one of the taller players, and you know, when you jump, you're not going to be contesting that much against the taller players. So he really only was aiming for one thing, and that was not what you need to do.
It's pretty much centre of midfield here for Leighton Cahill. Opts for the handball. Dan Farrer wide open. Don't want to do that. Back to Cahill. Weighs up his options and sends it forward, right up the guts, but straight to
Nathan Ryan.
How many disposals is the Cougars defender coming up to?
Too. But
fortuitously to Mavor, and he gets a lovely spiral on that one.
Yeah, and the Blues couldn't take that because it was spiralling. So now it's anyone's...
They've got an open man too, Dan Brooks.
Dan Brooks, he's going to go for it, but where has it gone? It's going to go slightly wide. Oh, it's short.
Oh my God!
It's still going to have another opportunity.
Oh, I can't make the most of it though, can George Reid?
So just the 1 point there after all that, and there's plenty of opportunities for the Cougars, but they didn't take any of them. Just 1 point, 17-10 to score to the Blues.
Mavor can't get the mark there. Dan Benny, coming forward, and it will be a ball up.
Yeah, now that's an interesting match-up between Brad Mavor and Dan Benny. One's about 6'2", the other one's about 4'7".
Got another ball up again. The two ruckmen in place, Cahill and Fairhill, and again it's Dan Farrer in jersey 11. Knocks that one down. It looks like it might go out of bounds. No, it takes a bit of a leg break and stays in the field of play. Who will get to it first? And it eventually does trickle out of bounds.
Yeah, not until after a few people tried diving on it before it went out. So Terry's going to have a throw in there for the boundary umpires. And who we got?
We got Josh Mackie there with a bit of spin move. Looked high, and that is the call from Matt Corley. So Josh Mackie out of Dunedin.
Yeah, about 50 metres out too, so he'll have a good opportunity to try and get it
very
right
good
up
left
close.
boot. Yep, there he goes. Cannons it forward and finds the competition's leading goal scorer, Kieran Charlton, right in front of goal. What has he snagged? 35 this season, Leroy.
He had 35 after the main round robin. So I don't know how many he's got to. He's got one today, so that takes him to 36.
36 goals for the season.
The Blues were straight into the final.
Minor premiers, so straight through. So 2 goals in quick succession for the Eastern Blues. 3 goals, 5, 23 plays, 1 goal, 4 behinds, 10. So that buffer's now out to beyond 2 goals for the Blues, approaching half-time and really into the wind, if you want to call it that. And there's a bit of a side wind here.
We're into the last minute of the half.
Not a great kick from Farrett. Johnson coming forward, but the Cougars have possession. That's a nice wee kick there from Hamlin.
Trying to find Giles over there, but was unable to. He found another player from that's Wilson there, who cleared for the Blues, and looks like Charlton there, trying to have a bit of a run with the ball. We've got a whistle here for being taken with the ball, an opportunity he had the opportunity to clear. You can't be far away from the siren going either. I haven't heard the siren go. Have you heard the siren go at all, Nick?
Haven't heard it.
No, can't
Must
be
be
far
very
away.
close as Ryan clears towards Jean Blanco. And it goes out of bounds, very close to half-time. There's the siren. So, half-time in the big dance, the careful grand final between the Blues and the Cougars. And it's the Blues with a 13-point lead, 23-10, 3 goals, 5 behinds to 1 goal, 4 behind. And the Cougars, they were up 9-8 in that second quarter. They were making the most of that wind advantage. A couple of bit of poor execution in front of goal.
Yeah,
and the Blues, they're making the most of their opportunities through Sinnott, and then just before half-time, Kieran Charlton.
It's actually quite strange. When at the beginning of the match, we were thinking, the Cougars have to play out of their skin to be involved in a real serious match-up here and take all their opportunities. Here it is. We're at half-time, and it's actually the Blues who've had to struggle, and they've actually managed to get the opportunities and take theirs to have that lead, whereas we thought it was going to be a lot clearer than that at the start of the game.
Yeah, indeed. I think, if someone had offered the Cougars a 13-point deficit at half-time, I reckon they'd take that any day, ending and why. So, look, I think they'll be happy, but at the same time, given the opportunities that they've blown in front of goal, this could be a very different story. So, look, it's really, on the precipice. Our camera's just fallen off. Hopefully it's not broken. But that just goes to show the wind is slightly picking up here at QE2. But
it's supposed to be 34 kilometres an hour today, but that's a decent breeze. We've had stronger, of course, but it still means that the poor old cameraman up on the scaffolding there is having to take a lot of care up there because he's getting blown around a bit, as is the shelter that we're under.
Yeah, I think we're about to take off soon too, Leroy. But look, it's been a fascinating first half, and it's all ahead of us really in this second spell. I think the Blues certainly will be happier with how that second quarter was played. What do you reckon the messages would be from both camps? I guess starting with the Blues, they've been better in front of goal. It seems like the more that Dan Farrell has the touches and disposals, he can really control that midfield, almost really just more of the same after that sort of slightly sloppy first quarter.
If I was the Cougars coach, I'd be saying, you're playing well, you're doing everything right, except sometimes the concentration slacks. You need to keep the concentration up for the whole game. If you're going to compete for the final, you've got to be at 100% with your concentration, because that's where the slip-ups happen when you don't concentrate 100%. For the Blues, they'll be thinking, oh, we're in front, we're okay, we'll just keep going the way we're going, and they've got the wind again with them in the next quarter, so they'll be out. They've got a lead of 13 points. They'll be out to make that 30 by the end of the next quarter.
Yeah, completely agree with you there, and I think, more so for the Cougars too, if they can get it in the hands of Dan Brooks. I mean, there was a couple of one counter-attacking opportunity there where the Blues actually only had one defender back. They're really sending the players forward. If they can the Cougars can catch the Blues on the counter, there's some serious gaps in play. But look, it's very much what we would have hoped for a final, Leroy. Like I said, I certainly was thinking it was going to be maybe a bit of a blowout, but look, thus far it's been very, very competitive. Do we have any thoughts of the umpires?
Yep.
Any expert chat?
Yeah,
Why
we're
don't
going
you
to have
jump
a bit of a halftime discussion here with the umpires.
We'll step away.
We've got, first of all, we're going to have Steve Langridge here. He's one of the central umpires. With him is Matt Corley. So we'll introduce them, Matt and Steve. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's all go. They're both fired up for the game, and there's a lot of passion out there. Unfortunately, the Cougars just not very accurate in front of goal. Some very bad misses there from Brooks and Xavier Giles, which would put them more in the game. Some pretty easy shots, but I don't know, Matt, how are you seeing it?
Yeah, look, I think the first quarter was probably as we expected. Maybe it was a bit heated.
Yeah.
There was a few little niggles around the ground. There's probably still a couple of little spot fires to an extent, but they're not overly concerning if you maybe remind them that we're here to play footy. I don't think there's a dominant team at all. I think when the Blues have got the ball, they seemingly move it quite well, as they've done all year. The Cougars, by the same token, though, do move it around them their players with some skill.
Yep.
So there's certainly no dominance being shown, Leroy.
Yeah, a bit of luck favouring the Blues in this game rather than the Cougars especially in that last quarter.
Oh, I think it depends on who you ask out there. I reckon if you ask either team, the other team's getting the luck at the moment, but or the run of the grass, or run of the green. But no, I think I'm of the opinion. I don't think there's a team that you would sit here and say this team's going to win. Either team, I think, at the moment is in the ball game.
Oh, I agree. I think that before the game, I thought the Blues were just really muscle their way through the game and intimidate the Cougars. That has not occurred at all, I don't think. I think the Cougars have matched them man to man and are doing a really good job of keeping up with them. And it's just like, some of these, there's some silly free kicks, but there's also some rough stuff there too, isn't there?
There is. Yeah.
And we've got to get on top of that a little bit more. But I think that the players are easing their way into just playing footy. I think they come out in a grand final situation full of nerves, full of verve, full of punch, and want to make their mark on the game. But I think now that they're settling into their footy, and we'll see some nice, clean footy, I reckon, moving on the ball. So look forward to it.
Right. So, what do you think now in terms of the players? What do the two teams have to do? The Blues are in front by 13. They've got a slight wind behind them for this quarter. What do you think their aim is?
I don't normally like to know the score, but thanks for telling me anyway. I suppose for me, we're either going to see one of two things happen here. We're either see one team pull away, and again, I don't know which team that might be. I mean, the wind's playing tricks. So no team's being favoured there. Or you're going to see another dour quarter where you might see one goal each, maybe a half a goal each, or a couple of points, and it will go down to the wire. And that's kind of where, obviously having some sort of influence. I don't want to predict what I think might happen, but I think that if I was one of the coaches, I would be saying we need to come out and maybe knock a few over and just put some doubt in the other team's mind.
Well, that's why I asked you, Matt, about as a coach, because you've coached teams out here. You've coached a team in the final. You actually coached a team to win the final a few years back too, didn't you?
No, we played 2019 where we didn't quite get there against the Dogs.
Ah, right. So you came in after the one.
Yeah. I was on the downhill slide.
Oh, well. Okay, so if you're the coach out there of the Cougars, what do you say to them?
I would probably be saying to them, forget the rough stuff, let's just play the ball and let the umpires do their job and hope that we get protected. That would be my coach's perspective. Let's play the footy, let's try and run the Blues around, let's use our main players. We've got to identify our game breakers, and if we get a chance in the 50, we've got to lock it in, or we've got to score.
Yeah, and that's been the problem that they've had too. They've only had one scoring opportunity really in the match, and they did that with Dan Brooks. They had other opportunities which they've messed up.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for them. But they've both got the wind. As long as this wind keeps going the way it's going, which is to the north. It's virtually blowing across the ground. It's an easterly, but it does seem to favour pushing this ball. The Blues did very good in that quarter of working the ball through the wind and just moving it forward. However, the defence of the Cougars has been outstanding for the fact that they haven't had easy shots on goal. So the ball's been coming back, and a lot of the ball's been played in the Blues forward line and up to about halfway, where the Blues halfbacks are also coming in. But it looks like the teams are now taking the field again, so we might have to hand over to the central commentary position.
Thanks very much there to Matt Corley and to Steve Langridge, the central umpires. They're going to have to take off and get into the actual centre of the field because the teams are back out already. So we need to say thank you to the two umpires to coming in and their thoughts on the match so far. And I'll welcome back Nick Bewley back into the seat beside me.
Great access. You don't get that at Channel 7, do you, where the umpires come on and have a chat at half-time. So, look...
do they want to talk to the umpires over there?
There might be something in that. So, look, yeah, some really interesting thoughts from both sides, or both Langers and Matt there. As
so we're going to have Jason Beck who start this quarter, and he's not turned to face us, so he's going to have to turn around and throw up the ball.
Bulldogs legend, what a throw. And we're underway for the second half. Jay Johnson with it.
With the ball.
Gets rid of it. And I think the Cougars player doesn't know which way he's going, which is problematic.
Josh Mackey. They're the two Blues players that had the ball then. Looks like Dan Benny's now gone in for a shot to touch the Cougars player, and it's going to go out. And we'll have a throw.
And there's just another example there, Leroy, where, maybe in round robin, a snap kick like that from Dan Benny probably goes straight through the middle, and it's just, for whatever reason, whether it's just some intervention or just poor kicking, some of these shots on goals from the Blues that I've seen go through the middle plenty of times in the last 10, 11 weeks. Just hasn't happened thus far. I know they are up 23 points to 10, but this is a team that has put 100 points on some of the opposition in Caffel. So
pretty much every team, haven't they? There's been 100 points scored against every team in this competition, week in and week out just about. And yes, you're right about Dan Benny there. Quite often, I think he's snapped about 17 goals during the season, and that's for most of the other teams, that would be one of their leading goal scorers too, but he's only half the number of what Kieran Jalton's got, so that just shows you the dominance that the Blues have had this season.
And there's whistle there, and it will be with the Blues, and Phil Henderson in 4. He's got a pretty smart boot on him. What's his best part of maybe 40 metres on the angle, left to right. You want to aim this one at the right upright and try and curl it in. I think Phil will have a go from here. Try and push this advantage out to 19. Looks pretty good. And he does just that.
Yep, 6 points there. So 29 to 10. We've got a lead for the Blues now. And we're only a couple of minutes into the second half.
Just what the Blues coaching staff would have hoped for, talking through at half-time. And that's the thing too about the Blues, Leroy. They've got goal-kicking threats right across that front line. I know, Kieran Charlton's kicked an exceptional amount, but any one of those guys up there, Phil Henderson, Will Evans, Dan Benny, they can kick some goals. So that's a perfect start for the Blues. Another ball up in the centre, and a good fist through there from Leighton Cahill. And again, Dan Farrett right there in the thick of it. Can he get this one away? George Threed throws him to the ground, and we eventually will have a ball up. Through Jason Beck, and there comes Cahill and Fairhill. Josh Charlton has his hands on it. And
is there a whistle? Yeah, there was a whistle. We didn't hear that whistle there. Jason Beck, the central umpire there, got his back to us, and when he blew then. So Charlton kicks downfield. Good kick down to about the 50-metre line there, but the Cougars have managed to get it away. Here we go, another
Buzz and goes straight up.
Yeah, well, that's not 15 metres there, Buzz, so you're going to have to make sure you play on.
42, that's Mayville for the Cougars, sends it forward. Again, Farrah's there, just sort of hanging about, and like a seagull at a beach, just tidying up all the fish and chips. He's just everywhere, and that's another really smart kick up towards number 25, who I don't think I've mentioned too much. Trying to find who 25 is, but let's see if Leroy can figure out who that is on field. Maybe one of the substitutions.
There, Matt Little.
Might have been 26, Matt Little. Yeah, here he is with it now. In fact, Matt Little sending it forward, and that one's just going out of bounds.
I just noticed here that all the players, there's nobody back in defence for the Blues. They're all about halfway up. And that's amazing. You played the game yourself. As we see
That's a goal.
For the Blues.
That's a goal. And he's done that a fair few times this season. Kieran Charlton, it was bobbling right in front of him, and he's just socketed it through.
Very low kick, yeah.
And the Blues are opening up this lead now. 5 goals, 5 behinds, 35 to the Cougars. 1 goal, 4-10, so a 25-point lead in favour of the minor premiers, the Eastern Blues.
And obviously feeling very confident for the fact that they are pushing everybody forward like they were.
Well, they call the third quarter the championship quarter, and they've got the wind advantage too. You think, really, if they can properly open arms, kick a couple more, hold that defensive line, it's going to be too much of an ask for this Cougars side. They need something here, and here's someone who can provide it.
Yeah, another kick downfield by Brad Maver, but he hasn't found his teammate. It looks like it's just bobbling around the sideline there, being battled between Keegan Wilson there for the Blues and the player for the Cougars, who, you can't see the number of that one. Is that?
It's about as far away as we can get.
Blanco, isn't it? I think that's Ollie, isn't it, with the ball.
And it is the way of the Cougars, though, and they get on with it up towards George Reid, evades both Blues and Cougars and trickles out of bounds.
No, so Terry's going to have another throw in over there. So hopefully we can look after his shoulder there. He's got one bad shoulder still. Unfortunately, he needs to do something with that one in the off season, I suspect.
So
good
here
throw
we go,
in though.
the two ruckman, great throw in, and it's with the Cougars. Connor Hamlin gets to George Reid, snaps it, goal.
Oh, just wide,
Just
and it's
across
hit the
the
side
face.
base. 1 point to the Cougars. Again, that's one of the things that if we could get those opportunities for the Cougars, they'd be right in the match. We heard from Matt Corley say that he thought, as a central umpire, one of the teams could open up in this quarter, not saying which one. In terms of the Cougars, they want to make sure that doesn't happen against them. Starting 13 points behind, they don't want to have it open up, so they need to take their opportunities. There's been another kick downfield by the Cougars, a player taken out while he was trying to take the ball, so a free kick to the Cougars about 50 metres out there. The player there, Nick, have you found who it is that was taken there?
26, I believe, is Judd. Unfortunately, Hamish Judd.
Yeah.
So, look, he's about 30 metres on the angle. He's gone right back, and in fact, he's going to bring Dan Brooks into the play with the handball. Can he get it forward? Just in front of goal, needs a snap.
Oh, just missed. The player was tackled there while he was attempting the goal. Ball just went straight to ground and cleared by Charlton. And back down to
Hamlin, is it?
Hamlin, yeah, that's Connor Hamlin. That's right, it is too. As we got the ball up there, there's that Edie trying to go for the ball there.
Well, I think Nathan Charles has actually been sent forward in 36.
Nathan Ryan, excuse
me. So he was, influential there in the defensive role in the first half.
Charlton away to Benny, tried to get it back to Charlton there, but the ball went loose. As we have a Charlton there going through again.
Fair bit of contact there as the ball pinballs around.
Doesn't look like it's going anywhere very quickly. Players coming from miles to try and get the ball, but the whistle hasn't actually gone. There we go. We thought that we were going to have a stoppage there for a throw, but
Becky was allowing about 12 players to have a crack at it there, and we finally have a ball up. And again, Cahill's been so good at the ruck. That's another big bit of contact.
About in there, clear. Getting
Charlton.
Downfield, aiming for Will Evans. Will he take it? He has missed it, unfortunately. The ball's gone to ground. Henry was taken out as he was trying to go chase the ball. Umpires didn't catch that one, and the ball looks like it's headed off out of bounds over in the far corner.
That was another huge hit a little bit earlier there from Josh Charlton. We saw it in the first half on Adam Clark, right in the ribcage.
He can tackle well, that boy, but we don't want to have too many injuries in the final there. And as we saw Adam Clark get upwinded earlier, the one here bounced up without too much trouble, fortunately for them.
Again, that Blues full forward press is really noticeable. There's 3-4 players hovering around midfield, so that means the other 14 are pretty much in that forward 50 area.
Yeah, and we can work out who they are. We've got Andy Howard out here. We've got Jay Johnson now. He's out back, which is interesting. Jarrett Ford and Keegan Wilson over the far
and
side.
Hayden Johnson too. So 5 players back and the rest all up front for the Blues as they look to put the foot on the throat. And we might have another ball up, do we? Yes, we do.
We don't have 5 Cougars though, I noticed. We've only got 4 back here. No, only 3. Yeah, 4 with the player coming on now. So that means there's an extra player up.
Here goes Dan Benny, puts his sidestep on, but can't evade the next Cougars tackle, but it's high.
Yeah, he's lucky there because he actually lost the ball before he was able to get the kick through, but with that high tackle, the free kick goes to Dan Benny, and I wouldn't put it past him being able to slot that from here.
Oh, he'll certainly have a go, no doubt about that. Sort of told pre-match he travels over from Westport for all these games, Dan Benny, so kudos to him. Kudos to him.
Loves his football, comes from anywhere. Yeah. It's the same with Josh Mackey and
Hayden Johnson. They fly up from Dunedin. So
they fly up, do they? Oh, that's a bit of a bonus for them to fly up. Can't do that from Greymouth. He's going to have to drive over.
That's it. Benny just opens the angle ever so slightly, tries to swing it through, and given the nature of the celebrations, I don't think it was a one goal, just the behind.
1 point. Yeah, so 30-11 now the score. The Blues lead, so that's back to the 19 point that they had just after their goal, straight after half-time.
And this one, just backspin on it. Bowden read it and fashions a kick through. Benny tries to fist it forward. Fashions a nice little handball there for Farah. Just has so much time on ball. Does our competition's best and fairest. Says that's some nice work there though from Nathan Ryan once again. And the Cougars back line, he's back there now. He must have just run up for a bit of an opportunity and attack, and he's covering a fair bit of ground. That's
one of the things that I mentioned to you, though. He does cover a lot of ground. He's one of the players in the Cougars. Just like there's a couple of players in your team who do the same thing, like Toby Foley for you.
Not me. I tell you that. I just sit in one pocket and definitely do.
Well, sometimes it's easier to say, well, this is where I'm best at, so I'll stay here.
Well, that was great work initially from Josh Charlton, but the kick was not. So, again...
Maybe that's why he's not up the front line.
Needs to give it to his brother as we have another boundary throw. Very close to the Blues goal line. So it's 5 goals, 6, 36 to 1 goal, 5, 11, 25-point ball game. And the Blues looking for their first title in, 2014, so 8 years. Cougars won it in 18.
Yeah, long time in between drinks for the Blues. They've been in plenty of finals in those 8 years too. You would have played against them, wouldn't you, about in 2019? I think that was the final that you were in.
Yeah. That was one of my first year. I watched on from the sidelines and certainly enjoyed myself afterwards. But yeah, look, they've had some lean patches, but they've certainly been the team to beat this year. And look, they're going to take some beating this afternoon. The Cougars really need to score next as they make their way upfield. Another ball up. I've been really impressed actually with Leighton Cahill. I know he's got the size advantage there at the ruck, but he's won almost every ball up. As this one goes forward for the Blues, just evades Evans there in 14, and again out of bounds.
So we're going to have another out-of-bounds throw here. So here we've got two markers go up to compete for the ball. And
so again, it's Cahill and Field.
The usual two. And again, I think Field...
Well, that's a good read there from the Cougars rover. I'm unsure who it was exactly, but he's snapped up. We do have a whistle. No, in fact, it's another ball up. So here you go, Cahill and Fairhill once more, and there he is, Cahill. Bobbles around and Brooksy.
Brooks clears the ball. It's a nice kick there by Brooks.
Nice bit of skill. Straight. How many times have we seen that though, Leroy? Dane Farrett, he just knows exactly where to be and almost just has a licence to go absolutely wherever he likes and then can put it on a dinner plate for a forthcoming Blues player, Connor Allnut, right on the 50-metre line. What does he do with it here?
He might not have the distance to be able to get it himself, but he can get it in there and put it right underneath for Kieran Charlton, who was trying to get the ball there, but he had a Cougars player jump in front of him, and the ball's gone free. And who's that wrestling in amongst there for the...
Mayville gets rid of it eventually for the Cougars. There's Cahill, the ruckman. We've got a bit of whistle again from Matt Corley.
It's going to be a free kick to...
Looks like the Cougars.
I thought he was pointing in the direction of the Blues, but looks like it is the Cougars are going to get the kick.
So it's 42, Brad Mayville, who will have it for the Cougars. What's the clock reading for you, Leighton, in this third quarter? Well, your stopwatch has evaded you too.
Yes, so
I reckon we're about midway through. I'm going to have a wee stab in the dark. So about 10 minutes to go potentially in this third quarter. Not a great kick there from the Cougars. Straight down to Dan Benny. He plays on, brings Charlton forward. Henderson's up in the air as well. There's Kieran Charlton on the left this time. Will this bounce through the goal? No.
It's a 1 point. So what's that make it? 37 to...
So anyhow, 5 goals, 7, 37, 1 goal, 5-11, so 26 points is the lead. And the Blues making the most of this easterly breeze in the third quarter. Oh, that's a strong mark there off the clearance.
Court again.
Jared Court.
Yeah.
What's he doing up there?
Well, he sometimes, when things go well for the Blues, he hovers up there in the position where he can grab a clearance ball. And again, he's done that many times this season. He kicks it in, but it doesn't go to one of his players. It's actually bounced off one of the players from the Cougars. And here we go. We've got a chance here for Tiara Henry.
Yeah, Tiara Henry with the mark. It was Connor Keelty with the kick off the left. Didn't quite middle it, but it just went to a wide open Tiara Henry.
Yeah, really, really weird kick because it wobbled around in the air. Could have been anyone's.
It was a dead duck, wasn't it, really? Let's be honest. As Henry lines this one up, not his best, but finds Jack Sinnott.
Sinnott's right in front of the goal, about 5 metres out. He'll take it out about 10 more. But he is very close to the goal to take this one. If he misses it, we've got a really good view of being able to see whether it goes down the middle here, right in front of us, and he does so clearly. A good shot there by Sinnott. So that takes the score out to 43-11 to the Blues. So that's a 7-7. No, that should be 7-8, is it? Is it 42? It might be a... Is it 42 or 43?
We were 37. I think it was 6 goals, 7, 37 price. It should be 7 goals, 7. Should it be?
Should be. It's going to change, hopefully.
Maybe
43 to 11 anyway is the...
6 goals, 7, excuse me. Yeah. We're there now. 43-11 is the score. It's a 32-point ball game. They've really opened arms in this third quarter, have the Blues, and they're looking for more. That was Sinnott's second goal of this CAFL Grand Final.
And I did say at the halftime break that the Blues will be looking for about a 30-point lead here, and they've got that 30-point lead, extra 30 points going into the final quarter. It's going to be very hard for the Cougars to come back from here.
This one again, immediately we're back down to the Blues front line with another boundary throw, and looks like it'll be Henderson this time up against Fairhill in the ruck, and it's like a shallow throw. Henderson comes forward, finds one of the Blues rovers, cries of ball, and rewarded for the Cougars, much needed, and they'll kick out from their 50.
I don't know whether there was that much opportunity for them to clear it. I mean, they got the ball and they got the player at the same time, I thought there. But never mind. It's a good chance for the Cougars to clear it. They need to start scoring, and they need the ball down here very quickly. And they've got the opportunity to keep it wide. There's plenty of players down the sideline here for them. Dan Brooks takes that one. And there's another couple of players here. There's Jacob Eadie, and there's another player there, number 17. Have we got a name for number 17, or is he one of these players with no name, no numbers that we've got in front of us here? Jay Johnson there battling with the ball for the Blues. Oh, that looks
might be
high.
Very close to high from Brad Mayville, but no call from Matt Corley, so it will be a ball up.
I don't think he was in a good position to be able to see that. It might have been one of the cider umpires would have been in a better position to see. Again,
Cahill dominant at the ruck, but it goes towards one of the Cougars players who takes it on. Johnson with a great tackle. He can't believe the call, and it'll be another ball up. Looked like he might have had a prior opportunity to get rid of it either via the hand or the boot. As Cahill comes forward, wins another ruck. Johnson will get his mitts on that one. Handball out to the Blues winger who takes it on the full. Gee whiz. Lionel Messi, eat your heart out, and Dan Benny has possession. Left foot step, puts it onto the right, weighs up the goal, but again,
it's gone wide and out.
Well wide.
On the full, so we're going to have a free kick.
Gee, I didn't mind that volley though, Leroy. You can add that to the highlight reel.
Keegan Wilson there with that shorter shot. That's, yeah, maybe he's been watching a bit of football during the week.
The Football World Cup, it's only a couple of weeks away.
It starts next week actually.
Yeah,
the
can't
20th.
wait. Can't wait.
Okay.
Good mark there from Dan Brooks over the top. Dan on Dan there. And Brooks winning out over Dan Farrer. Can he get the kick away? Brooks. Eadie comes forward, but it's overcooked.
Went too far forward there. Connor Hamlin's battling for the ball, and he gets it forward, but Andy Hewitt grabs it for the Blues, tries to put a clearing kick in.
Oh, and here comes Farrer. Easy as you like. That was in slow motion.
Yeah, definitely in slow motion there.
And he's
grabbing
got
the ball.
Options left and right. Dan Penny decides to loop back around.
Just take a bit
Faz
of time
will take his time. And not the best kick. It's in between Cahill and Josh Charlton.
Something for Charlton to run on.
Yeah,
so
Charlton gets on his bike. He does well.
But he bent down to try to touch the ball on the ground and then got the player over the top of him.
How many times have we seen that? Kicks going out of bounds. So, as much as the Blues have enjoyed the dominance of this third quarter, they could probably be up by a couple more as looks like Nathan Ryan back there with possession for the Cougars. And that's a fair bit of purchase on that one, up over the 50-metre line, but just gets away from one of the oncoming Cougars players. So, yeah, the boundary umpires have had a fair workout on that side, as we expected with this easterly.
Yeah, definitely. There's a wind blowing over there. The ball's going. Most of the play has been over that far side throughout the whole of the match. There's been opportunities for them to spin it wide, which the Cougars have tried to. But I think there's been probably a lack of accuracy that's hindered their progress in this quarter, trying to get the ball clear, and they haven't been able to find their player. And again, that has happened, finding Charlton instead of one of their own players. Charlton, these kicks not too flash, and Xavier Giles there with the ball, gets the ball across to
Jean Blanco onto the left foot, tries to get on the right. Great smother though from Alnut as one of the Cougars comes forward. Cahill has it eventually. We have a whistle. It looks like there was a fair bit of contact there or something on Connor Allnut.
Yeah, he went in to tackle there and has come out second best. That's interesting.
And 50. So,
well, here's an opportunity for the Cougars to close the gap. They're being right in front of the goalpost by the looks of it. In fact, looking at where Matt Courtley's standing, he's going to be about a metre out from the goal line. So
it's a very generous 50.
It's a very big 50 there, but the Cougars will take that. They need it.
And it's 35 there, Ruckman, Latham Fairhall, right in front. No mistake. Much needed goal for the Cougars right on 3/4 time. So that takes us to 43 to 17. So 6 goals, 7 plays, 2 goals, 5. 20 minutes to go in the grand final. What is it, a 26-point ball game? Cougars will have the wind, but that's an exceptional third quarter, in all fairness, for the Blues.
Yeah, the Blues definitely played with the wind that time, used the wind effectively. 26 points, a good lead. That's going to be hard to pull back for the Cougars. The Cougars, again, they get the last goal in the quarter, so maybe a little bit of confidence going into the last quarter that they can do a little bit more. But yeah, I think they probably didn't do enough in that quarter to really warrant a big charge here. Well,
you got to wonder if fatigue's going to start to be a factor too, Leroy, because just looking at the quarter scores up until that point, so it was 8-7 in the first quarter, 23-10 to the Blues at half time, so they'd only kicked 3 goals in the first half. They then just kicked 3 goals in one quarter. Yeah. So you got to wonder, with all that hard work, that tireless work, as I lose my notes here in our wee tent as the wind picks up, all that hard work in the first half to nullify the attacking threats of the Blues, and just that fatigue factor, whether that's going to start coming in. But as mentioned, the wind, they'll have that at their backs, the Cougars. I'm unsure how the toss actually played out, whether that was a tactic wanting to play with the wind in that fourth and final term. But look, they got it all in front of them, and they're going to have to start strong.
Oh, it's hard to think. The Cougars have only scored 2 goals when you think that they've had a lot more opportunities than that. I mean, we can say the same for the Blues, only 6 goals by the Blues, and they've had a lot of opportunities, especially in that quarter. But up until half-time, they hadn't had many more opportunities to score, whereas the Cougars, they probably found up in that first half, they probably had a few more opportunities that have gone begging. So now they're going to have to play out of their skin in their last quarter to pull it back.
Certainly are. Yeah, look, the Blues will be very happy, and they just need to get on with the job now. And it'll be interesting tactically. Do they go for broke, or do they start to go and try and protect the lead? It is a beyond a 4-goal advantage. Do they start sending back someone like a Buzz or Jared Court, who we did actually see right up into the forward 50? Yeah. Do they now, with that, they're playing into the wind, do they go back to say, for example, 7 players in the back line?
I think there's been a ploy there for the Blues. They decided they were going to push in that quarter to see if they could get many, and that's what we saw. All their players moved forward and hardly anyone back in the defensive half to try and get their score up, because I think they're now going to have the likes of Jared Court and Phil Henderson and their defensive group back this quarter quarter is going to be very much a case of you backs are going to go back and defend like you're expected to do. And they won't have all the players back, but they're going to have their rovers do a lot more now in this quarter, I suspect, too, and have the backs actually do the defensive work and say, hey, you've got to get through us if you're going to score. We've got the lead. We've got our players up there who we can kick to, and but you've got to do all the work. We'll defend it and hold you off.
Yeah, indeed. And one guy I want to point out, and I know it's a team game, but when the Cougars have had those counter-attacking opportunities, when they've sent all those players forward, it's been Hayden Johnson at the back there at fullback. Sometimes he's marking 3 players in almost the whole field, but he just has that sort of temperament about him. I've noticed that, he doesn't panic with a rusher kick. He'll try and find a handball or he'll find an open man, and it's a luxury to have, isn't it? A guy like that at the back who's played at a higher level too, that he just has that time awareness and that cool head to allow the Blues to send players forward in that third quarter. He's been one of the best on ground thus far.
Well, looks like the two teams are very eager to get on with this quarter. I'm sure that was our
shortest break.
Minutes.
No opportunity for an umpire to even get over here for some extra analysis. We're going to get on with this one. It's Matt Corley in the middle. 20 minutes to go. The Blues haven't won a Canterbury AFL title since 2014. Is that about to change, or will it be one of the more unlikely
Yeah, they're going to cause an upset
Yeah.
and bring a miraculous comeback in this final quarter. Yeah, it ain't over till the fat lady sings, they say.
That's
so
the
maybe
one.
that might be what's the case here. Let's see. Got 20 minutes to go as we're waiting for Matt Corley to start the final quarter, which he does so. And he's going to do it with a throw up rather than a bounce here. Maybe the wind is causing a bit of issue with the bounce there. Dan Farrar, one of the first to go for the ball. Dan Benny picks it up. Again, puts the kick up, and it looks like Farrar's underneath it. No, somebody else there from the...
Dan Benny gets it back. Handball to the Blues winger. Unsure who that player is, but gets it forward to Kieran Charlton.
I think it was Matt Little who was the other player.
Great handball there to Jay Johnson.
Puts a kick down towards the goal, but that's got to be wide. Who's over there? Josh Mackey's over there, and it goes out of bounds, is it? It looks like...
yeah, just out of bounds, I believe.
I don't think the...
Bounced in the field of play and then sort of took an off spin behind the post.
Dean's going to go back under his post rather than signal for a point there.
Do they rush it back? No, they don't. No. They get a kick away. Is it out on the full?
Yeah, it's going to go out anyway.
Yeah.
So not on the full, but it looks like it might be a throw-in. So,
well, Blues, the hot attacking opportunity early doors in this fourth quarter
as we just spin around to see what we've got in terms of defence, they actually haven't done what I thought they might do. They've only got 3 back at halfway. The Cougars have got 3 players back there too, one really far back with Dan Brooks. So if they can clear that down very quickly, he's on his own as Nathan Ryan tries to clear the ball, and he's going to kick it way down to this number 28 player. But Bowden with the ball gets for the Blues, gets it back after he tried to get it over them. There's a handball across to nobody really. Brad Mayvey, we've got
Charlton comes forward though, left foot.
And kicks a kick through, but I can't see the
great
player.
mark. It was the Cougars, one of the Cougars' backs there is tidied up and gets the kick forward, but then straight into the hands of our first goal scorer, Joe Harpy. So the Blues going with the former.
Yeah, they're going to have a go. Yeah, good on them. If they can get another 4 or 5 goals up on the Cougars before the Cougars can score, then it's all over Rover. As the kick from Harpy is going to bounce.
Might have bounced through.
It's gone through.
Touched.
So
I see the call from Dean.
Yeah,
Cameron.
1 point there for the Blues. So we're out to 44-17, the score at the moment for the Blues, as it's going to be a clearance kick from Nathan Ryan yet again. He's done many of those today, hasn't he?
Great purchase on a turn. Wider mark there from Jacob Eady. Gets on with it. They need to. The Cougars more than 4 goals behind.
Giles, but he didn't quite take it. He had a couple of Blues players in the way there. Andy Howard was one of them, who was there just blocking his ability to take a mark there. We've got the ball down, and the umpire is going to do a throw up for the next play, as we have. Well,
Mayville eventually. There comes Jacob Eady. He'll only knows one way. Johnston comes forward, opts with the fist on this occasion rather than the mark. Back with a Cougars player. Did he have prior opportunities? Wrapped up And Jason Beck says no. We'll have another ball up right on the 50-metre line for
George
the Cougars.
Reid with the ball, so it's going to be a ball. He's not going to be involved in the ball up, of course, as we've got Joe Harpy for the Blues going in amongst there. I think he might have came out with it, but another ball up for the umpire to take as we see it go up in the air. And this time it's your player from the Blues, number 27 there, who's been doing all the...
Well, he's all the ball ups, hasn't had many go his way. Latham Fairhill finally got one.
Yeah.
But again, it ends up with the Blues and their Rovers. Not a great kick, though. Bounces right in front of Nathan Ryan.
Now, the other Charlton boy, though, has come through and he's really attacked that ball to try and get it back for them, seeing that it was away from the Blues players.
Oh, dear. I don't like that. That slinging action. And I think it's Brad Mavor's head just went cannoning into the surface. And number 15, what is he doing there? He just needs to preserve the player when it comes to head injuries. Just let him be.
Joe
Harpy, we're going to have a stoppage here. It didn't look too flash. It's just that slinging motion, isn't it? I can tell you the Kiwi 2 turf is probably one of the hardest bits of grass in Christchurch. It's not flash when you do take collisions with the surface. So
we're only 4 minutes into this quarter, so there's still another 16 minutes to go in the match, and so we'll just take a time out here for the injury check. All the protocols related to anyone who hits their head. In this case,
Brad Mavor.
Brad Mavor was the one who got the injured. So all those protocols they've got to go through. You see them a lot in rugby. We see them in league,
yeah.
And we see them in all the high level contact sports.
Yeah.
As the kick comes in from, is that Hamlin who just
Hamlin. Yeah, Mavor's still out there. He almost got a mark. Giles,
he's wide.
Head flung back straight away. You knew it. It was on the left. Tough opportunity, but those need to be taken. So just a behind for the Cougars as Johnston gets a spiral on that one up over the 50.
He's had opportunities that as Xavier Giles and Willie Ruing. That's the second one. He's had really close up where he could have scored, and that could be the difference in the end. But, I mean, it seems like a little bit more than that now, but if we have another 12 points onto that, that puts the Cougars onto 30, you see, and only 2 goals behind the Blues, and that's a highly competitive match when you're only within 2 goals. So all the difference really when you hit or miss.
Good work there from Josh Charlton that goes straight up, gets his own mark. And
not a mark, because I don't think it went 15 metres there, because they've played on. No whistle. See Dan Benny's in there trying to get the ball. So is the other Charlton boy trying to get the ball there. That's Kieran in there trying to get it. Where is it now?
It's on the ground, finally gets away. And that's with one of the Blues players down towards their front 50. I think this is going to bounce out of bounds. No, it's one of the Cougars players there.
Hamlin with the ball, so he's going to... he tried to bounce it and take it and then got taken out.
Jay Johnson with the defensive pressure, and they're going to have another attacking opportunity here at the Blues.
Arguing there is Dan Brooks trying to say that, hey, he was bouncing it and trying to get past the player, which you see a lot happen along that sideline, where they bounce the ball around the sideline to try and keep it in, and then got taken out. But the umpire's not having any of this. Ball comes into the middle there, but it's hit hands and gone bouncing out yet again. Cougars are now going to try and clear it. Is that to Adam Clark over the far side there, trying to clear it, and he's got it back again. Is that Nathan Ryan that time?
Certainly is, and he's found one of the Cougars players, and Connor Hamlin, Blues player, racing.
It's lucky he didn't get penalised there too, because taking a player from behind, that's you would have had that happen a few times there, Nick, and it's not the nicest thing to have happen to you.
No, it's certainly nicer things that can happen to you. But here we go, ball up, and Cougars do get up there first, but it's going to go out of bounds. It's not what they need.
Whistle first.
There's a whistle, so it will be with Latham Fairhill. Needs to get a bit of purchase on this one. Where's the lead from the Cougars? Dan Brooks, can't believe it, hasn't gone towards him, and Johnston looked like he was going to tidy up. Brooks eventually with it, kicks it down. That's a really nice kick. Can he take the mark, number 11? No, he can't. Needed to take that in again. It's Dan Farrer with all the time in the world. Assesses his options and finds Dan Benny. Should have taken that mark. Gets around one. Can't get around the second. That has to be
taken with the ball. So
turnover there. Oh, it was a great kick from Farah.
That's unlike Dan Benny.
Benny
He's
should
usually
swallow-
very good to...
Should be
take
swallowing
the ball.
those.
Yeah.
That one
Here we
goes
go,
over the
another race
head
in. It's,
of Hamish Ross. And
Josh
it's
Mackey
back
there
with the
clearing it
Blues.
for the Blues, getting it downfield, in fact, towards the 50-metre line, but the Adam Clark and Nathan Ryan there clearing the ball for the Cougars. Here's another
Oh, great
chance
intervention
here
there,
for
Josh Charlton.
Came in with a big defensive prod there and getting the ball downfield close to the goal line for the Blues there, number 16. That's there isn't a 16 on this one, so it must have been...
I've got a
was it?
Sammy B for 16.
Oh, Sammy B.
Sammy
Okay.
B. But Blackler, thank you, Lachlan. Sammy Blackler, that kick going out of bounds though. So we've got a contest here. Joe Arpey's up, getting in the
He's
way
trying
of
to, because
Nathan
he's getting
Ryan.
close there for getting his third goal, you see. He's after more goals. He wants to be the player of the final, isn't he, and get 3 goals. He's got 2 already. He's trying to see who we can... It's a bit hard to see.
And we've got a 50-metre call, so it was Joe Arpey coming off the mark. So a bit of a reprieve there for the Cougars. Nathan Ryan again done so much of the dirty work for the Cougars. And tried to milk another call
he
there,
did,
using all the
yes.
experience.
Yeah, trying to milk it there.
Oh,
He's
that's right off the side. Hamish
towards
needs
the
to get there,
sideline.
right in front of us. He's done really well. And that's a nice kick towards Mayville. Can he get...
just over the top of Maver, but he's got a height advantage on to Andy Hewitt there. But here we go. We've got Sinnott there. Hewitt.
And James Bowden tidying up.
Bowden, yes.
And kick forward for Arpey to come forward. And what a
Nice
lovely
take.
take. Off
Nice
the bounce, one hand, swings around onto the left boot. Bounces in front of Jack Sinnott.
Sinnott, yeah, with the
He
ball.
turns on a dime, weighs up his options. It's a bit of a snap at goal maybe, and goes right across the face. And it's going to go in front of Connor Hamblin.
And return
He's
the
got
ball
some serious
downfield.
wheels, and that's a
Got the
good
wind
kick.
behind and gets it down towards Dan Brooks to try and run onto. Is he going to be able to get the ball before it goes out? That's the other. Connor Allnut is on top of him almost the whole way.
Well, that might be a danger call.
Yes.
I think
Trying to kick the ball while the player was trying to pick it up, and that's not a good look.
They get on with it pretty quickly. Jacob Eadie with it now. Up towards the 50-metre line. The Cougars need a goal. Send it forward. Good mark. Get on with it, do the Cougars. That's not a good kick.
Yeah.
And who's that? The intervention. Andy Hewitt. And they just need it. I know that they're rushing things and they have to get on with it, but potentially there you want that composure. You want that. Oh, 2 Cougars go up for a mark.
Yeah, that's
Luckily,
excellent.
one of them's taken it. Connor Hamlin, I believe it is.
So that's the thing, though. The Cougars, they're chasing after it, so they need to be exactly right with their position. They need to think where the ball is going to go and be there more than the Blues do, because that's the one. They're the team who need to make the run of the game.
And there's another kick into the forward 50 that goes straight to a Blues player. The lead was there, but just not on the same page, the 2 Cougars players. And now Connor Kilty has it, gets it onto the left foot. And that looked like a really nice mark there for the Cougars, but it's actually gone over the shoulder, and the Blues are off and racing. There's a bounce from Little. Good tackle there from the Cougars. Had an opportunity. And that's great work there defensively from the Cougars. Unsure exactly who that player was. He's now come down with a bit of cramp or something, which is not what we want to see. Bit of pickle juice out there, hopefully.
Travis Egerton, we haven't heard him mentioned in this game. We haven't had to. But that was him who was putting in the effort there. There's another player down on the field. Is that him on the deck now?
Yeah, we get underway through Brennan Clark. Bounces in front of all and sundry in midfield, and it's Connor Allnut who tidies up. Not his best kick, but over the shoulder, Henderson tries to take the mark. That's a hard thing to do. Again, bobbles around. It's on the deck. Who wants it?
Wouldn't make a cricketer, would he, with a take like that? We've seen some marvellous catches in the T20 World Cup, but some over the shoulder, but that was not one.
Ball goes out of bounds, and we'll have a boundary throw. Not long to go in this Canterbury AFL Grand Final. It's the Blues with a 44-18 advantage. They've been the team to beat pretty much all season, and the Cougars are going to have to do something special to spoil their party late in this one.
I think there's about 8 minutes to go, looking at the clock.
And again, a bit of push and shove off the ball as we wait for a whistle. And Langers is in there trying to keep the peace and throws the ball up. Again, there's Leighton Cahill, so strong at the ruck.
Now you have to mention there that you mentioned Langers there. He's the umpire, Stephen Langridge, as opposed to Bangers and Nathan Ryan for the Cougars. They quite often can get mixed.
I'll tell you what, when I
for.
first started playing CAFL, I thought they were father and son, and I couldn't hear the B and the L. I thought everyone was called Langers, so
Absolutely. Oh well, hey, I'm the same.
That one goes out of bounds. So the Blues won't mind this. Working down the clock, they got the advantage of this quite significant lead now. 44 points to 18, 6 goals, 7 plays, 2 goals, 6. And, the Cougars need to get on with it. There's Jean Blanco, but on the left foot, right in front of the Blues bench, and they let him know.
Yeah, on the full in front of the Blues bench.
Must say, Leroy, that is one of the funnest things to do. When you've just come off for a spell, the opponent sprays a kick right in front of the bench and you let them know about it. One of the joys of the sport.
Yeah. You see that happen a lot?
Well, I'm on the receiving end of it quite often, so I enjoy my moments when I get it the other way. So, no. I'm sure Ollie will come back and have a moment soon. There he is, right there. In fact, can't get that kick away.
He's one of those players who likes to get in and amongst it. He doesn't muck around. He goes in there. He's about
around the legs though. That tackle there, I think it might have been Jean Blanco. So, just a bit of desperation going against the Cougars. Excuse me, and the Blues can just ease their way downfield. They are in cruise control. It has to be said. They haven't really got out of sort of second or third gear here in this fourth quarter, and another call going their way. No, in fact, it is a ball up.
There we go, the ball
and
up in there.
Just the dominance of the ball up. Yeah, Cahill. And those Rovers just know exactly where he's going to palm it down.
And it's going to be a ball out, but there's a shove against Will Evans on the player from the Cougars, which is Adam Clark. A bit of a
two of the veterans of CAFL.
Rivalry there between those two. That will date back a few years.
Good kick from Clark. Hamlin comes forward, takes a nice mark there just inside the boundary line. Cougars need to get on with it. They go forward. There's Edie. Good intervention there from Voisson, as he let me know, the Frenchman, Louis Voisson. And the Blues back with it. Harpy onto the left foot.
One of the funniest moments in commentary, isn't it, when you get told off by the player what the name is?
Oh, you only get one surname, Leroy, so I appreciate, even with someone like Bewley, I've heard Booley, Bruley, everything. So.
Oh, that's a bad miskick there from Fairhall. So.
It comes out, though, somehow, and the Blues back with it. Dan Benny gets a handball away. Sinnott, can he get his third? Onto the left. And it is a goal. He loves it.
It's a goal, yes, so well done.
Jack Sinnott, I think they know that's the game there. The Cougars needed to score next, and Jack Sinnott, what a day out he's had.
And that takes the Blues to 50. So they are 50. The Cougars are 18, and so 52 might even be if we're just looking at the score. And we're down to about 4 minutes left in the match.
Well, that is a very well taken snap at goal on the left. I think if we recall back to the first quarter, Leroy absolutely sprayed one from right in front. That's about the easiest goal you'd ever see. And then he makes, that looks very simple when it's anything but. So Jack Sinnott, he's had a day out. 3 goals now. The Blues, 7 goals, 8, 50. Plays the Cougars, 2 goals, 6, 18.
Another win there from Cahill and the ball up as he did at the restart, and this time though he kicks the ball.
Brendan Ryan.
Yeah.
Or Brendan Clark, excuse me.
Yep. So Clark kicks the ball down towards
Edie. That's a good mark there.
Kind of all trying to compete with him, but Edie gets it in field to Ryan.
Nice sidestep there on Allnut. Gets the kick away down towards the forward 50, but there's Hayden Johnston and a push in the back. On the Cougars player coming forward.
Yeah, so opportunity there now for the Cougars to see if they can score. Is that Ollie taking the kick?
We've got number 28. No, might be Buchanan.
Ben Buchanan.
And he's had a crack from 50, and it's just going to go to the left for a behind. So that's a bit of a tail of the tape in some respects, isn't it, Leroy? The kicking in front of goal, it was a little bit sluggish from both sides early doors, but the Cougars haven't taken all the opportunities that you would have expected a team in the final to take, and the Blues, particularly in the second half, have done the opposite. They have made those shots in goal, be profitable. Yeah.
Yes. And that seems to have flowed throughout the whole field too, because there's been a few mishaps in the middle and towards the defence too from the Cougars, and it's given the opportunities for the Blues. The Blues are not going to take the
taking their time. Yeah, Dan Farrett, two-time best and fairest, and careful. And again, he's been influential today. He's just, as I mentioned earlier, just a lot of time on the ball.
He'll want to get on the score sheet.
He certainly will. He certainly will. Doesn't have many shots at goal. And here he goes. Lines this one. Looks pretty good. Oh, hits the post.
So just 1 point. Well, he's on the score sheet, but just for one. So another 1 pointer behind, hitting the upright. Remember, we mentioned at the beginning of the match that if it hits the upright, it is 1 point. If it hits the side posts on the full, it's out on the full. But if it hits the side post after a bounce, it's still 1 point. So
and another goal scoring opportunity here for the Blues. Will Evans, the second oldest Blues player on the park, I'm told. Buzz James Bowden, the oldest. Will Evans.
Yeah, Will Evans
has his own podcast. Yeah, he's part of the media fraternity here in Canterbury.
Yeah, he's a very strong influence in rugby league because he's
Loves
the marketing
league.
Manager. He talks to me on my show too about the Rugby League World Cup, which is at the moment.
Kiwis Kangaroos tomorrow morning,
yes.
8:30.
That's a 1 point for him.
It has gone through, so he's on the score sheet. He'll be happy about that.
Yeah, being a forward, you want to be on the score sheet in the final. So that's his first opportunity.
Good work from Hamlin.
Good take, and he's cleared the ball down
on his
field.
bike. Wide open
Great
player here for the Cougars.
For
Ben Buchanan.
Ben Buchanan here.
He's got Giles forward. Opts instead for the
last minute.
Jacob Eadie coming forward. Last minute of the game. The Blues have this one wrapped up, but can the Cougars get scant consolation with a late goal?
Bowden tried to clear it, but it looked like it just went towards the sideline rather than anywhere in particular.
There's Dan Farrow once more through to 28. That's Keegan. Got him the surname, unfortunately. Keegan
Wilson.
Keegan Wilson. That one goes out of bounds. So we're down to the last minute of this one. The Blues have been superb, particularly that third quarter. That's where the momentum swung their way and they completely ran with it. Cougars very deserved of their place in the final, but the Blues all season have been the team to beat, and they're going to walk away with the CAFL title very shortly. Nathan Ryan has been superb, probably best on ground for the Cougars in my opinion. Tied it up, so much pill in there. He finds one of his teammates, and they'll go forward once more. Cougars, can they get something? No, they can't. Connor Allnut.
Yeah.
And that shows too, doesn't it, Leroy? Just some of the tidying up from the Blues.
The dominance that the Blues have had in all
back
three
line.
facets.
Yep.
You know, the ball ups by Cahill, the defensive work from Allnut and
Johnston,
yep. And Jared Court. It's just been 24 players. It's the final who to goes.
There it is.
And it's a win to the Blues in the grand final. And it is a comprehensive win in the final over the Cougars for the Eastern Blues, 52 to 19.
So 7 goals 10, 52 to 2 goals 7, 19. And the Blues very deserved victors of 2022 edition of the Canterbury AFL competition. As we mentioned in the pre-game, they lost, I think, their first couple of games, but ever since then, they've won, I think, 8 in a row. And look, after, as has been said, some sort of lean periods where they haven't been in finals, and to finally get one go their way, very deserved victors this season. And as mentioned, the Cougars have been superb too, and just ran into a better side today.
Yeah, well, when you look at the whole season, the Cougars starting off the season with a 100-point loss. Sorry to bring it up against your team, the Bulldogs.
Oh no, please do.
Yeah, 100-point loss to pick themselves up from that first game through to winning the last 2 games of the round robin, and then 1 point against the Eagles in the very last round robin game, then beating the Eagles last week in the semi-final to make this final. They've actually worked really, really hard, and they've deserved their spot because they've come from probably the furthest back of all 4 teams to make it. But on the day, though, they're just still a step below the Blues. It'll be disappointing for them, but the Blues, they will be very happy. They came in here really hot favourites after the season that they've had. Their round-robin matches have been crucifying basically everybody who they've played. And they had the week off last week. Some people say that having a week off in the final series can be a disadvantage. Others are saying, well, we just want to rest the injuries so that we've got everybody at full strength come the final. Well, it looks like it doesn't matter which way you look at it. They've come out, they've been on top pretty much since the start of the second quarter.
Yeah, that was a crucial point, wasn't it? I was going to bring it up, and just looking back at the scores. So it was 8-7 at quarter time in favour of the Blues, and in fact I think the Cougars scored a couple of behinds which could have been goals. Yes, they took a 1-point advantage, but you know, if they'd kicked a couple there, they could have pushed on. Instead, the Blues ended up kicking 2 goals in that second term to take a 23-10 lead at half time. And I know